Wow, it is another beautiful day in Indy. But I've got a question for you guys. Do you enjoy drinking beer? I mean, that's a stupid question. Of course you do. Otherwise, you wouldn't be watching me. But the better question is, do you like the taste of beer? Another question for you. Do you want to drink beer without getting drunk? Have you ever had that thought? Well, if you've ever wondered that, if that was possible for you, then I think you'll like these two beers that I've got for you. Welcome to Klaudless in Indy. I'm Klaudless, and I'm in Indy, and fortunately for you, it is another beer review. Roll the intro.
Gilly my alpha, Klaudless.
Hey guys, Editor Christian here. If you've been watching my videos, then you know that my videos can get a little bit long. You know, they go from being a 10-minute video to a 20-minute to a 30-minute to a 40-minute video. I understand some people don't have time like that, which is why I've been putting chapters in the description. So that way, you guys can skip right to the part of the video that you want to watch. With that being said, enjoy the show. Alrighty, you guys. So first off, before I present these two beers, just want to let you know that I am not endorsed by Sun King. As you guys know, I do work for Sun King, but they pay me to bartend and not to do beer reviews. So yeah, just in case you were wondering, but I do love their merch. I actually just bought this beanie, I want to say last month. So if you like it, it's got a little poof ball in it, you know, go out and get you one, you know. I mean, everyone I know seems to like it. So let's just get on to these two beers here. So if you see here, I've got the non-alcoholic Sunlight, which is fairly new. I'm not sure if that one was here before, but I do believe that the brew started last year, and it's very good. And then, of course, we have the Hopopolis non-alcoholic IPA for you guys who like IPAs but don't want an alcoholic one. And you guys can see here, I have two wine in glasses. This is mine, and I'll be using that one for the Sunlight. And then this one here is my wife's, and I'll be using that one for the Hopopolis. Now on the website, the Sunlight Cream Ale, I mean, you would think too that they both share the same name, at least being Sunlight, that they're both comparable. And so at the end of the review of the Sunlight and the Hopopolis, we're going to compare the flavor between the Sunlight, the non-alcoholic Sunlight, and the Sunlight Cream Ale. So without further ado, we're going to start off with the Hopopolis, and yeah, let's get on with it. Now for the Hopopolis IPA, I couldn't find much information on the website. I'll post some B-roll of me scrolling through the website, looking at the beers. But if I've noticed, I'm pretty sure you guys have noticed that they did change the design of their website, and they used to provide the information of the beers, such as the hops that they used and the malts that they used, etc., etc. But they no longer provide that information. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate. But here is the Hopopolis. Don't mind my hands. They are very dry. But look at that design there. So Hopopolis, I'm sure, is a play off Metropolis. Despite being headquartered in Indy, I thought that maybe this was Indy, but I think that this is just a generic Metropolis. Still, Sun King with their beautiful can designs there. Look at that. So Near beer is another term for non-alcoholic beer. Contains less than 0.5%. As you guys know, that's that's the requirement. There you go. And I would say that these non-alcoholic beers are one of the few beers that I've seen that actually provide the, for lack of a better term, the nutritional information. Because I know some of you guys out there do care about that. So here we have 75 calories, 1 gram of protein. So it's probably good after a workout. 14 grams of carbs and 0 grams of fat. Oh yeah. So now we're going to go ahead and get onto the pour using my wife's 14-ounce wine in glass. If you like these, let me know in the comment. We'll be more than happy to make one for you. Okay. Actually, we're gonna do it how the beer judges do it. I'm gonna turn the glass here. Absolutely great head formation there. Look at that. Absolutely rich color. See, maybe I can adjust the camera here. And I will say that I can almost smell it from behind the camera. Almost. But let's see if I can zoom in on the head there so that you guys can see it. Look how cloudy. Look how fluffy and creamy it is. If I can get it to, there we go. Lots of big bubbles, small bubbles there. That is what I like to see in my beer, especially being a non-alcoholic beer. You know, not what I would expect. But as you guys know, non-alcoholic beer is still beer at the end of the day. The only difference, right, is that it just has less alcohol. And a lot, and depending on the dealcoholization process that they use, that's really going to determine the final taste of the beer. And unfortunately, they don't provide that information on the website about how they obtain the less than 0.5%. But it doesn't matter. So look at that. Look at that. The head holds very well on this beer. I'm not sure if we can see that. Gesundheit. Yes, my daughter is here as usual. Not a lot of CO2 bubbles in there, but they are there. Not sure if you guys can see that. Okay, I'm gonna see if I can switch the camera to me. Alrighty, yeah, you see how beautiful it is today. It's overcast, which personally is my favorite because I don't necessarily have to wear the sunglasses, and it's not gonna be too hot. It's very cool outside. But here we go. We're gonna move on to the aroma. Now, I will admit, I have this beer. I have a ton of this beer in the garage. And the thing about the Hopopolis is that it doesn't necessarily smell like beer to me. I mean, it's very fruity, a little floral on the nose. Maybe even a little citrusy there. Maybe piney is the word I want to use. Yeah, but when I smell this, I do not smell a pale ale. I do not smell IPA. Almost forgot to mention the color. As you guys can see that, it's golden there, almost a dark golden. And it is semi-transparent. Let me see if I can turn the glass here. As you guys can see in the video, as I can see, that I can see the Indiana wine and logo through the glass. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Wow. So it's very smooth. I would almost say kind of juicy. You know, like an East Coast style IPA, like a hazy IPA, even though this is not hazy. It doesn't necessarily have to be. But one thing that I will say is that despite it saying IPA on the can, it does not necessarily taste like an IPA to me. Or maybe it does. I mean, what would an IPA or a pale ale taste like without that, for lack of a better term, that signature hoppiness, that signature bitterness? I mean, this Hopopolis does not have that at all. With that being said, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just not what I would expect from a beer that, you know, that says Hopopolis and has IPA on the can. I'm expecting the hops. I'm expecting the bitterness. With this one, I'm just getting juiciness. I'm getting a little bit of sweetness. The best word I can use is maybe like apple-y. Yes. With that being said, being that I do have experience drinking this beer, and unfortunately I don't have my thermometer, I seem to have lost it somewhere while doing electrical stuff in the house. But with my experience, this beer, I think that you guys already know that my preferred temperature is between 51 degrees and at most 65 degrees. And I think that any higher than that, the beer is, how do you say, it's not the best. I mean, it's still drinkable, but it doesn't taste like beer anymore. It almost tastes, I want to say, kind of like maybe apple juice after it, like maybe after it's like Best Buy date. You guys know the exact flavor I'm talking about. And even still, on the palate, it still kind of reminds me that, although it's very, very light, and I think that as the beer gets warmer, that flavor, that apple-y flavor, kind of starts coming out more and more. But with that being said, this beer is best drink cold, right? I would even go as far as to say that going above 55 degrees, you're really risking it as far as getting the best flavor out of this beer. And I think that's where it's most balanced. Any warmer than that, becomes a little less balanced. Any colder than that, any colder than 55 degrees, that's when the beer is going to be its best. And hey, a lot of people do love their beers cold, right? I mean, that's just the culture. So I would 100% recommend this beer. I just recommend drinking it cold and drinking it at a fairly steady rate, right? Not necessarily a beer that holds its flavor from the top of the glass to the bottom of the glass as it warms up. But still, great beer, in my opinion. So, with that out of the way, let's move on now to the non-alcoholic Sunlight. Next up, you guys, we have the non-alcoholic Sunlight. I keep wanting to say cream ale, but it technically does not say cream ale on the can. It might on the website, but at the end of the day, it says Sunlight on the can, no cream ale. So, with that being said, look at the design of this can. As I said before, one thing that I love about Sun King is their can design. Each can is absolutely unique. They really have an artist on their team. And just look at that. Look at that. I mean, you got the fields of wheat and or barley. You got the clouds there. You have the Sun King logo in full. You got the pyramid, the barley, the hops. I can't really tell what that is there. Maybe that's going to be the aroma or the oils, not sure. And then you have some landscapes, a valley, a river. So, yeah. I mean, that could also possibly be, what, the 4 ingredients of beer? Possibly? So, not sure. I mean, yeah, that could be yeast. And then that could just be the water, right? So yeast, malt, a hops, and water. So the 4 ingredients that make beer beer. Wow, never even thought of that, to be honest with you. How many of you guys thought of that? And then same thing on the other side. And just like the Hopopolis, you guys can see here, I'm just going to show them both. They do provide the nutritional facts. This can is actually kind of glossy, so the light is really hitting it there. But it's got 90 calories, zero protein. So probably not good for a workout. No protein in here. It's got 17 grams of carbs. So if you're watching your carbs, this might be a little bit more than the Hopopolis here. And then 0 grams of fat. I'm not sure if you guys noticed, many people don't really think about it, but me as a beer geek, as a beer connoisseur, me who does care about the details, notice something. Do you notice anything familiar about this can? Notice anything familiar? Well, we'll just get right to it. It looks oddly familiar to the Sunlight Cream Ale can. Yes, I mean, they both have the logo on it, the Sun King logo in full, with the 4 ingredients of beer. But if you've noticed, it's the exact same design, but in yellow. I think that's very, very easy to miss. Very easy to miss there. Just give the can a little bit of a turn. Also, if you're interested in my review of the Sunlight Cream Ale, I will post a link to that video in the comments. So I think you should really check that out. But without further ado, let's get on to the pour. Real quick, you guys, I do apologize for all the sniffling. It is a little chilly out here, and my body, for some reason, cannot get rid of this stuffy nose. But other than that, I'm perfectly solid. I am done being sick. But look at that. Look at that. Some great head formation there. Absolute beautiful head formation there. Look at that. It's kind of interesting. This is fully transparent, but what's interesting is that it is almost a light gold color. And as I said, completely transparent, and you can see the wine and logo on the other side, and lots of CO2 bubbles going on in there, almost as if it was like a lager. I'm gonna move the camera down so you guys can see this beautiful head here. Focus that. We have lots of bubbles there, very creamy, very milky. Great head. Absolutely beautiful. And look at that retention. Absolute great retention. I will admit that I did pull this one out of the fridge. I do have a 6-pack of this in the beer fridge. So that may contribute to that head retention, and it is still staying there. Unlike the Hopopolis, of course, that was not in the fridge. I have so much beer and not enough places to put it. So yeah, let's move on now to the aroma and to the tasting. Alrighty, here we are. Look at this, and as you guys can see, the head is almost gone, but still, it is still slightly there. Wow, absolutely great aroma on the nose, and it's very, very strong, sweet malt aroma. Yeah, that's what I'm getting, mostly malty. I want to say almost reminds me a little bit of like a fest beer, or maybe even an Oktoberfest. Let's get into this. Wow. 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 So this is actually very interesting. Sure, I've had this beer so many times. Not as much as the Hopopolis, but this tastes like a beer. I mean, it is a beer, right? But if I had blind tasted this, I guarantee you I would not think that this was non-alcoholic. Just a lot of flavor going on there. Of course, you have the maltiness. There is I don't want to say a fruitiness, but there is this is sweet. This is a sweet ale. A sweet blonde ale. Wow. But still, it's very delicious. I mean, me personally, I do like a sweet beer. Not too sweet. It needs to be balanced, of course. I mean, I appreciate all beers, right? Whether they're sweet or whether they're bitter, whether they're dry. But this is just not what I'm expecting. Was not what I was expecting from this beer. But I would say in a good way, right? I think non-alcoholic beers do have a bad rap. A lot of people are like, why would I drink a non-alcoholic beer? Isn't the point that there's alcohol in it? And knowing about the process of de-alcoholization, a lot of non-alcoholic beers do tend to lose a lot of flavor and leave a little to sometimes a lot to be desired. But this here, no, this is very good. This is very good. But I do not want to drink the rest of this, because I will. This is very delicious, you guys. Very delicious. I mean, there's not a lot of flavors there, but the flavors that are there are very, very good. And I will say that this beer is very light, okay? Both in body and I would say in flavor, though. Right? I mean, I said there is a sweet maltiness, but it's not too overpowering. It's not too strong. This is still, at the end of the day, a very light, refreshing beer. And come the summertime, or come when it warms up, when it's out of the 50s, even though today's a great day, I'm actually kind of perspiring right now. This is still a nice, refreshing beer. Both this and the Hopopolis. But now, let's pull out the Sunlight Cream Ale, the alcoholic one, and compare the two. See how these two compare. All right, you guys, I have the Sunlight, the NA Sunlight, and the regular Sunlight Cream Ale side by side. We're gonna pour these two. We are going to compare just about everything. We're gonna compare both the body, the color, the aroma, the taste, the finish. We're gonna compare everything about these two. Let's go ahead and get to the pour. I will admit this one was not in the beer fridge. Look at that beautiful head, you guys. The Sunlight Cream Ale, I mean, there's a reason why this is one of their core beers. There is a reason why this beer has so many medals. Look at that. Lots of bubbles. I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and do another review for you guys. I already reviewed this beer, so go ahead and watch that review. Okay, let's go ahead and watch that review. I'm gonna turn the camera around, and we are going to, as I said, do a comparison. But before I do that, just so you guys can see, I guess let me bring the camera up close. See if I can do that here. Now, with the beers side by side, there is almost no difference. And I say almost, because I'm not sure if you guys can see it on the camera. If you guys can't, I'll post a B-roll of another shot I did from the first video that I did that I decided to scrap. But you'll notice a very slight difference in color. You notice that the non-alcoholic Sunlight is slightly darker, just slightly darker, right? They're both transparent. You can see the other side of the glass. You can see my house on the other side of both glasses. And the non-alcoholic Sunlight, I mean, it's been sitting for a minute, but even then, the Sunlight Cream Ale has just a lot more CO2 bubbles going on, a lot more activity going on in the glass. Still a great head, still great head retention. Alrighty, let's go ahead and turn the camera around now, and let's get to the nose. Okay, so right here I have the Sunlight Cream Ale, and right here I have the non-alcoholic Sunlight in my right hand. Alright, so let's compare the aromas here. First, we're going to do the Sunlight Cream Ale. So right there on the nose, you can get the maltiness, as I've said before. But it's almost a grainy maltiness. Not like an Oktoberfest, as I've said sometimes in the past for some. But this smells like beer. No, I mean, not a lot of flavors on the nose there. Personally, I just get the malt. Yeah. Kind of a dry finish there. A very smooth finish, though. And the flavor does linger a tad bit. But as I said, you know, very like a grainy malt. There is little to no sweetness in this beer. And of course, I'm comparing it to this one here, right? I mean, this is still a tasty beer, almost toasty. Oh, there it is. There's the notes coming. It's toasty, almost bready. Not like a sweet bread though. Maybe like the like the brown part of the bread, the crust part. That's what I'm getting. Yeah, still good, still very good. Compare that to the NA Sunlight, and boom, you're getting that sweetness. Yeah, I'm not sure if I said it before. I keep wanting to say fruitiness, but there's like another flavor there, but I just can't pinpoint it. So, with that being said, I mean, both these beers are great. Personally, I like the non-alcoholic Sunlight a little bit more than this one here. Would I drink both? I would absolutely drink both. I would absolutely order both. But I may be more inclined to order the non-alcoholic Sunlight than the regular Sunlight. And not because there's no alcohol in it. I mean, I'm a professional drinker over here. You know, I'm a very good drinker. But more so because it is a little bit sweeter, and I do like that. I do have a little bit of a sweet tooth, I will admit. And so I do kind of like that personally. Yeah, let's go back to this one here. I want to say that this one does have a, and I'm not sure if it's because it's warmer than the NA. Like I said, the NA was in the fridge, the Sunlight was not. But it feels almost like it has a little bit more, like a tad bit more body than the NA Sunlight. Wow. But still absolutely great beers. Now, I want to compare the non-alcoholic Sunlight to the Hopopolis. These are both NA beers. And so I want to see if there's any similarities to the two. Alrighty, so I have the two beers here. From far away, they almost look pretty similar, right? I think there was another note that I forgot to mention, is that, as you can see here, the non-alcoholic Sunlight is very transparent, while the Hopopolis is slightly hazy. Yes, you can almost see through the other side of the glass. Excuse me. Actually, right now I can't, surprisingly. But yeah, Did I mention it's pretty close to a juicy IPA? I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to rewatch this video to see what I said about this Hopopolis. But yeah, let's try them both here. I mean, sure, I would say the similarity is that they're both pretty light. They both make me salivate. I mean, the Hopopolis more so. And maybe there is a very slight similarity with these beers as far as flavors. Maybe I think that both these beers share one common flavor. I'm just not sure exactly what it is. But regardless, if I was to recommend either of these beers, and which I do, I 100% recommend the non-alcoholic Sunlight beer. I keep wanting to say cream ale. But the Hopopolis is still a great beer, hands down. But I think that the non-alcoholic Sunlight takes the cake for this one. With that being said, you know, I think that's pretty much it for this video. I think I've said all I can say. Yeah. I think I've run out of things to say, so I'm just going to end the video and turn it over back to editor Christian. And thank you guys for watching. Peace out. What's going on, you guys? I want to thank you for checking out my video. If you like what you saw, hit that like button, and if you want to see more, subscribe and hit that bell. If you want to support me, check out my Patreon, or you can go to buymeacoffee.com. If you want to check out any of my music, you can look up just Klaudless, or if you want to check out my band music, you can go to Don't Kill the Poet. And I'll post links for all of that down in the description. So with that being said, cheers, slancha, salud, nastrovia, skol, prost, peace out, and I'll see you guys in the next one.